Welcome to ASIAINA.org channel.
Benjamin. Also, she is here all the way from Arizona.
Thank you. And I know just to start this also that I'm very, very honored that to be included in part of the founder and the board member. I know I forgot to put that in my bio. So thank you, Nelly, for including me in part of your organization, and I'm very honored. Thank you. So, business action plan. In layman term, in some other people that think, what do we consider as business action plan? Okay? In my interpretation, the business action plan is about taking action. So, how many times that we want to take action and then we are just so scared or we're not ready yet. And this is not ready, that's not ready. If we keep having that kind of attitude, you never get anything done. You just have to, first you have to have a plan, of course. But taking any business plan is a risk. There's always a risk. So we have to be able to face and say, okay, I'm willing to take this risk. What is the risk? But looking at the benefits first. In everything we do, even walking, for me, down here, it's a risk. I can't stop. Yeah. Right? So, therefore, we do need to take and assess the benefits and the risk assessment. So, business action plan is what I call it, is you have to have a goal. A goal without an action plan is just a wish, right? It's a wishful thinking. So, because of that, I tell myself, there is no such thing as one of these days. What is one of these days? Are you planning that you're going to live, you know for sure, that you're going to live another 30 years, so therefore one of these days, okay? So if you have the passion that you want to do something, find a coach, find a mentor to support you first. Because they are the one that will help you to support you for your action. So, therefore, you have to be comfortable brainstorming your task, and you need to set a realistic goals. And goals is something that you need to achieve. Also, it is very important that to achieve business, you have to pay attention to detail, in certain detail, right? Because if you don't, you really don't know whether you were able to achieve that. At the same time, we need to be practical. Okay, so if for example, if you are you want to do some a business in, let's say, in a product that requires some science background, and if you don't have a science background, you need to hire somebody that understands that. Okay, so that's what I mean by being realistic. Another thing as important as that one gentleman says about the funding, we have to have budget, right? So you need to understand the budget and have a marketing strategy is important. But most of all, we need to understand what your goal is. Now, I would advise, in my experience, that I being an action coach, which I help my client to achieve their goal. Okay, that is very important that you need to have a system to achieve your goal. And I do advise you to use the SMART system. What is that? Is in the SMART system, we call it be specific. You want to make sure your goal is measurable. You want to make sure your goal is attainable. You want to make sure your goal is relevant. And the last thing is make sure that you set yourself a timeline. Now, just because you're not able to achieve that, let's say by December 31st, you want to achieve this specific one. And if you cannot, so you can always extend that, but you need to have a time bound, regardless. And so let me just go briefly about the creating a business action plan. Like I mentioned before, you need to be able to identify the tasks that require to achieve that goal. And then these tasks should be based on what else that you need to be done next. Okay, so have to have a step, different step what you need to do. And you should be able to identify and complete that task. And again, as I mentioned, with time bound. Put the time, when I need to have that done. And so, for example, if you think that it needs 2 hours or 3 hours to get it done, some people may think, oh yeah, it's only take 3 hours to get it done. But you realize, with your agenda, you only have 1 hour a day to get it done. Just because it takes 3 hours doesn't mean you are able to do that in that one day. So that is very important, that we need to be realistic. When somebody said it takes 3 hours, is that the 3 hours that day that you can do it? And the last thing is that it's very important that we need to know that our schedule, right? So sometimes we have to learn to say no. We don't want, if we say yes for everything, guess what? We can't do anything done. We have to learn to say no. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I know that my contact information in the ASIAINA website, and I'll be glad to talk to any of you. Thank you so much.